guys, welcome back. This is Adventures with Dr. Joe. Today we're going to do a review and demonstration of the Drill Doctor 750X. For years I have been using this Drill Doctor 750 SP and it's really served me well. But this new Drill Doctor 750X has really stepped it up, and for my machine shop that I'm setting up at my mountain place, I needed another drill bit sharpener, and I think this one's going to be great. Let's take a look at it. I paid full price for this, $139. They don't seem to be on sale, but what you get is this box, but in it is a bag which stores everything, which is nice. Your chuck, the Drill Doctor sharpener, an owner's manual, and a wrench. And this wrench is very important to remove or replace the sharpening stone. This wrench is actually important for working on the sharpening disc in here to reverse it or to replace it. This Drill Doctor sharpener will sharpen from 3/32 of an inch all the way to 3/4 of an inch with just one chuck. That's nice because previously with the other one that I have, I needed two chucks. One to take me up to a half, and then a half to 3/4 another one. But this will do all of those, which is a nice benefit. When you chuck up a drill bit, which we'll do in just a minute, we need to set the depth of cut. This has an adjustable depth of cut. The 750X does. The 500 does not. This will allow you to take a little bit if you're just needing a touch-up, or if it's very, very dull or chipped. You can change the setting of this to either remove more or less material based on the sharpness of your bit. In addition, you can see easily these jaws, these prawls that will grab into the flutes and properly line up your drill for sharpening. One thing that's very nice is that there is actually a dust port on this. Here's a spark arrestor to prevent any sparks from coming out, but a standard 1-inch dust extractor. So your shop vac or other vacs will fit in here really nicely and remove all the metal. You should not use compressed air because it can get into the bearings of the motor. It's best to vacuum these things out. And you can see right here, here's the sharpening disc right here, and it's easily accessible with this clear housing. This comes off very easily, and then you can access this, and it makes it really easy to flip it if you want, because when we're sharpening, we're only really using half of this, so it actually has 2 times the life, or replace it. This is where that special wrench comes in handy. You can see how it fits in these special little gaps here, and then you use a screwdriver to loosen that, and then you can flip the wheel or replace it with the new one. So that's where this wrench is used. First step in deciding what settings to use are to determine the angle of your drill bit. These drill bits are a split point, 135 degrees. These standard bits, which are not split, are 118 degrees. And those are the 2 most common settings, 2 most common angles for a drill bit. The standard drill bits, the common ones, are 118, and the high-end drill bits are 135, usually split. Those are for metals, harder materials. These are for general purpose 118. After you've decided which drill bit you're going to use, this must be adjusted first. This is the knob that you loosen to make this adjustment, and then it moves up or down, 135, 118. This can be adjusted all the way from 115 to 140 degrees if you have some specialty need for that. But I think that's very unusual. The vast majority will be at either 118 or 135. And set that first, because if you've got a 135 degree drill bit and you sharpen it at 118, you're going to need to spend a lot of time to fix that, and vice versa. If you have a 118 sharpen it at 135, you're going to be spending a lot of time getting it back to ship shape. The first bit we'll sharpen is this black oxide 1/2 inch bit, because it's going to show very clearly as the end is sharpened the progress of that. We'll open up the chuck so that this drill bit fits loosely in that, and then through this then using this proud area, we'll slip that into the 118, which is right at 12 o'clock, open the prawls, slip this in, and then allow the bit to properly orient itself, just like that. These prawls grab the flutes, and this is a 2-flute bit, and you can see it lines it up perfectly. Then just snug up the chuck. After it's snug, then take it out and really give it a nice tightening. So now that's in good shape. We're sure we're at the 118 degrees. I'm going to put the spark arrestor back in, and we're going to sharpen this drill bit. This chuck is critically important because you can see it has a wear area or a rub surface that rubs on this pin, and it acts effectively like a cam. It goes in and out as you're rotating this around, giving the proper angle and the proper curvature of the sharpening. And we're going to rotate it, and you're going to first hear a significant grinding sound as material's being removed, and then as we do it more and more, it'll get less and less and less, and then we'll take a look at it. Sometimes up to 20 rotations are necessary. But you can hear a lot less now. Take a look at that bit. That is nicely sharpened. You can see the entire area has been sharpened. And that is a well sharpened bit. Let's take a close-up look at this bit. This bit does not have a point. It has what looks like a straight line here. These 118 bits are known as a chisel point tip. You notice the tip, more like a straight line, not a point. And that's why these will wander and walk when you put those down trying to drill, for example, metal, and they require a center punch or a dimple to be made first. The 135 degree bits that are split have a point and usually don't wander or walk, and we'll take a look at those next. You can see that we're making quite a bit of dust. I don't have the dust collection here. Let's sharpen a titanium bit because it's interesting. Titanium is a coating on the drill bit itself, and again we'll line up this keel with 118, and then right here these pawls grab the flutes of this drill bit, holding it exactly in the right place. Tighten it a little bit and then tighten it up significantly. Now let's sharpen it. We'll turn it on. And there we go, a beautifully sharp bit. The titanium oxide coating on this is only critical to help with the sharpening right at the very edge of the drill bit. That's where all the business is done, nowhere else. The titanium also perhaps creates a little bit more of a slippery surface in the flutes for the injection of the material as you're sharpening, or as you're drilling. Next, we're going to sharpen some 135 degree bits that are split, and I have used these heavily to basically drill some holes in some pretty robust steel to make a mobile base for a metal cutting bandsaw. So first things first, reset this from 118 to 135. Very, very, very important. Then let's check up our bit. Be sure it's snug but not tight so it freely moves. Line up our keel here with 118. But when we're doing 135 degrees, we actually move it one to the right. One to the right. Why? Because that gives us the best alignment. Not 118. If you're doing a 118 bit, you line the keel up with 118. When you're doing a 135 bit, you move it a little bit to the right. That's a little bit of a quirk on this sharpener, but that's important. And again, these pawls grab the flutes. We snug it up, tighten it up. Now we're going to sharpen it. There are some drill bits out there that have 3 flutes. This can't sharpen those, and I'm not really sure what can. Probably by hand. Anyway, here we are, set up, 135, got it lined up. Let's sharpen this. Nice. Let's take a look at that. So we can see how this bit was sharpened, and it really looks quite good. But now we need to split it and create this secondary grind, changing the chisel point to a true point. At this point, don't change the bit in your chuck. Leave it as it is, and then rotate the drill sharpener to this position. So I vacuumed this up to make it nicer. So these keels now will fit into these slots right here when we're doing that secondary grind, and we can look in here and see where the bit is going to touch that grinding wheel, and we just touch it a few times on each side, and then we should have the split completed. Not too much. A little more. So that second grind ground this very clearly here, and you can see now it is a true point. Here's that second grind when we split the tip, and now instead of a chisel tip, we have a point tip. That works very, very well. So now we have a beautifully sharpened 135 degree split point drill bit. See the split here, the regular grind here, the split here, and now an absolute point at the tip, not a chisel point. If you're not sure what angle it is, you can get one of these little angle gauges. This is a 118 degree angle gauge. You can just see it line up right there. Boy, that's perfect. This is the one we just sharpened. Yep, 118 degrees. One thing that's interesting is that the motor on this is way quieter than on my 750 XP, which is really nice, and I can just leave it run throughout the entire drill sharpening process. Masonry bits are a little different. I'm going to darken the edge of this carbide. This is a carbide piece that's in this high-speed steel. That's typical masonry bit. We line the bit up with these masonry bit lines, and I'll show you those in 1 second. These little points. So we're going to loosen that a little bit, let that masonry bit come down, snug it, line that up again, so that the carbide of the masonry bit line up with these marks. And you want about a 1/2 to 5/8 of an inch sticking out. This is a little bit more than a 1/2. And then you don't want to rotate this. We've got this out between 1/2 and 5/8. We're going to line up the white index mark with this pin, and we're just going to plunge it in a few times. In, flip it around, same thing, in. So let's sharpen this masonry bit. Again, the carbide edges line up with these notches here, and we're just going to plunge it with the alignment mark corresponding to this rotation pin. But don't twist it, just plunge it. A very light touch. Yes. And now I have the entire masonry edge resharpened or sharpened, and that's how we do masonry bits. So that's the review of the Darex Drill Doctor 750X. It's quite a nice machine. Standard 118, split point 135, and masonry drill bits, all the way from 3/32 to 3/4. Thanks for watching. Please click subscribe and like. Until next time, thank you.